Hey everybody, it's Beth from Yoga and Reiki Bliss. I'm coming back in with another little prep idea for side plank, Vasisthasana, with a little extra focus on the legs and the hips. For our practice today, we're going to need a blanket and a block and anything else you'd like, but those are some tools that we'll use. So let's go ahead and hop on the mat. And we're actually going to start lying down. And so just take a moment to settle on your back. You can have your knees bent and feel your breath, letting your pelvis be neither in a state of flexion, like backward tilt, where your low back is to the ground, and not in a state of a forward tilt, where your low back is curved away from the ground, but somewhere in the middle. And as you take a couple of breaths, just notice the parts of you that are moving with your breath. Do you feel the breath primarily in your abdomen, or primarily in your rib cage, or primarily in your chest? Is there any breath moving into the back of your body? And then the next time you exhale, go ahead and roll on over onto your left side. If you need your blanket or your block under your head, you could do that, or you could even just put your own personal arm under your ear. We're going to bend the knees here and stack your knees one on top of the other with your hips at about a 90-degree angle and your knees at about a 90-degree angle. And so you want to be super mindful that you stay on your side, that you don't start to roll back onto your back. And so we're going to focus on, for the moment, some of the muscles on the outer hip, because they're really important in terms of getting that lift of the hips up off the ground. So with your top right leg, the next time you exhale, we're going to lift your hip up, lift your leg up, sorry, about to the height of your hip. As you inhale, slowly lower it. Let's do that again. So just taking the movement nice and slow, and just trying to keep one half of your hip on top of the other half. And we'll do two more. Now let's take that right leg and stretch it straight out in the opposite direction of your head. And see if you can imagine where your right sitting bone is and line your heel up with that. And then from here, we're going to make circles in one direction. And it doesn't matter which way you go first, because we're going to go both. And then we'll circle in the other direction. And one more circle around. Then hover that leg for just a moment. Take a breath in. Enjoy your breath out. Then rebend your knee and return your hip on top. If you need a little tap, tap around that area, that can feel really nice. It's also just a great way to wake up the sensory receptors in your body with a little tapping. And then from here, we'll roll on over to the other side. You can roll right on over. I'm going to flip it this way so I can continue to face you. Good. Again, find your breath, find the organization, your hips and your knees at about 90-degree angles. And next time you exhale, we're going to lift the top leg up and slowly lower it. Do one more. Great. Now let's outstretch that leg in the opposite direction of your head, as if you were standing on it. We'll flex the ankles just to give a little energy through the whole leg. We'll circle. We'll take one more circle, and then we'll switch directions. Doesn't have to be a big one. I want you to be in control of the organization of your pelvis. One last circle. Great. Go ahead and bend your knee. Oh, wait, let's hover. I lied. Let's hover. Take a breath. And then go ahead, bend your knee and return it. If it needs a little tap, tap, go for it. Great. From here, let's go ahead and shift up onto your hands and your knees. And here's where you might decide having a blanket under your knees might feel really delightful. A little extra cushioning, because we'll be on the knees for a bit of time. And then go ahead and take your block. Just have it handy dandy nearby. And we'll settle the knees under your hips. We'll settle the hands as much as you can under your shoulders. And from here, let's take your left leg and outstretch it behind you with the toes curled under. Rotate that thigh out so the sole of your foot comes down. And make a little kickstand of your right leg out to the right behind you. Push into your right hand, and we'll breathe the left hand onto your hip. So here we are already in a version of side plank with the support of your bottom shin. Give a little push of the ground away. And when you take your next breath out, lengthen from your tail, reaching gently towards your heel, towards your left heel, through the top of your head, reaching in the other direction. And then from here, since our focus is on our hip, we're going to focus a little bit more in this moment on the top hip. Go ahead and lift it and lower it, and lift it and lower it. As you lift and lower, keep pushing the ground away. And you can even imagine hugging in your bottom right hip so you don't start to sink into it. And do 2 more lifts and lowers. And then the next time you lift it, we're going to leave it there. Breathe in. So it's kind of like a little Ardha Chandrasana kind of feel. And breathe out. Great. Then lower your foot. Pivot back down into tabletop. And then take your block and place it between your inner thighs, just above the knee joint. Give a little hug of your inner thighs towards each other, which is an action that can help when you are in your version of Vasisthasana when both legs are extended. That little hug in can help activate that feeling of drawing into the midline, lifting up away from the ground. So find that hugging in here. Tuck all your toes under and lift your knees up to a regular plank pose. And breathe your breath in. Breathe your breath out. Keep pushing the ground away. And slide your shoulders a little away from your ears. Really, really hug your block. One more breath. Then breathe your knees to the earth. Remove your block. And then we'll check it in on the other side. Go ahead and outstretch your right leg behind you. Spin your right heel down so the sole of your foot comes to the ground. And for the moment, really think about anchoring the inner heel of your right foot and then spread into the pinky toe side. You've got that nice diagonal wrap of energy and muscular effort. Then kickstand your left leg out behind you. Push down into your left hand and we'll take the right hand to the hip as you rotate your torso around your standing arm bone. And push down through your shin and your hand. And then the next time you exhale, we'll lift that right leg up and we'll lower. Good. Keep your support nice and strong. Nice and long, your tail reaching a little in the direction of your right heel, your head reaching in the opposite direction. And the next time you lift your leg, we'll keep it there. Breathing as you do. And then we'll lower that heel down, pivot back to your table, and slide your block in between your two knees, or just above your knees in the inner thighs. Then hug your inner thighs towards each other, and then tuck your toes under and lift your knees up. Breathe your breath. So the knee joints are straightening, the inner thighs are hugging in. You can have a little feeling of reaching through your heels as you reach through the crown of your head. And then add in a slight cat pose, tail tuck here, just to keep that fighting of gravity's pull on your pelvis downward. Take one more breath. And then lower your knees down. Super duper. All right. Come to sit, if you will. You can sit right on your left hip. Your blanket, maybe you scooch out to the side just so you have a little more connection with your mat, everything on one line. I'm going to take my left hand and about mid-hip, walk it out. Again, a little bit in front of my shoulder because the trajectory of where we're going to go is up and in the direction of the head. So if I'm a little forward of it now, when I lift up and over, I'll be a little more over it. So here we are in this Vasisthasana sit. We're going to hug the inner legs together, just like you did when you have your block in your thighs. You could take your right hand to your hip. The next time you exhale, push down into your hand all the way through your fingerprints. Lift your bottom hip up. As you inhale, slowly lower, but keep hugging in. Exhale, push down. Lift that hip up and lower. Let's do that a couple more times. There's that work of that outer hip, drawing them up and away from the ground. And one more time. And you could stay here. This is sort of a variation on our Vasisthasana, hug the legs in, or you could outstretch your top leg, not far from where we were just a moment ago. Take one more breath. If you outstretch your leg, bring it in. Slowly lower your hips. All right, let's swing it over to the other side. Get a little squeeze of your inner thighs. Walk this hand about mid-hip out, just a little bit in front of your shoulder. Spread all the way into your fingerprints. Take a breath in. As you exhale, push down into that block, into that earth. Hug your imaginary block and lift your hips. Come on down. As you exhale, lift your hips. As you inhale, slowly lower. Let's do that 2 more times. Lifting and lowering. One more time, lift. And then let's stay. So you can stay right here, hugging this hip up, hugging your inner thighs in, or you could outstretch your top leg with the bottom of the foot on the ground. Again, just another way to kind of play with this idea of a side plank. Then bring your knee in. Come on down. Beautiful, everybody. All right, so that's a little tidbit practice session for today. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Just notice how you feel. If your wrists are a little cranky, give them a little shake out. Give your shoulders a little shake out. Let's invite the hands to prayer at your heart. Just take a moment to thank yourself for carving out a few moments to move your body mindfully. Thank you so much, everybody. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can find out more info on me and our classes all online. This is yourbliss.com. Be well, and I'll see you soon.